The prize. Her cutty sark, o Paisley harn, that while a lassie she had worn, in longitude though sorely scanty, it was her best, and she was vanity. By Robert Burns. The merchants and seamen's petition pressing for action on the matter of longitude arrived at Westminster Palace in May of 1714. In June, a parliamentary committee assembled to respond to its challenge. Under orders to act quickly, the committee members sought expert advice from Sir Isaac Newton, by then a grand old man of 72, and his friend Edmund Halley. Halley had gone to the island of St. Helena some years earlier to map the stars of the southern hemisphere, virtually virgin territory on the landscape of the night. Halley's published catalogue of more than 300 southern stars had won him election to the Royal Society. He had also travelled far and wide to measure magnetic variation, so he was well versed in longitude lore and personally immersed in the quest. Newton prepared written remarks for the committee members, which he read aloud to them, and also answered their questions despite his mental fatigue that day. He summarised the existing means for determining longitude, saying that all of them were true in theory, but difficult to execute. This was of course a gross understatement. Here, for example, is Newton's description of the timekeeper approach. One method is by a watch to keep time exactly, but by reason of the motion of the ship, the variation of heat and cold, wet and dry, and the difference of gravity in different latitudes, such a watch hath not yet been made, and not likely to be either, he implied. So hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Off the Shelf with me, Mark, Book Time with Elvis. Hope you're all doing well. And today's offering is the wonderful book Longitude by David Sobel. It's quite an old book, so I'm sure many of you have read it because it was quite a sensation at the time. If you haven't, you really must. And it is a very small book, but tells an amazingly massive story, and that is the story of longitude. So if you didn't know it, longitude was something that had to be discovered. Latitude was easy. Longitude wasn't. And immense wealth awaited the person who could discover longitude and how it worked, because it meant that because the British government put a big prize on its discovery, but also then the British economy would reap massive benefits as well, because they would then be the only country that sailors knew exactly where in the world they were. Before, people had to do kind of dead reckoning, so they were maybe several miles, hundreds of miles out of off course and this kind of thing. Whereas with longitude, they could pinpoint exactly where they were. So you can imagine the massive advantage of understanding how understanding longitude would give to the country that had it. And this is the story, and it's a great story. Longitude, the true story of a lone genius who solved the greatest scientific problem of his time. Let's read the back. Longitude is the dramatic human story of an epic scientific quest. The longitude problem was the thorniest dilemma of the 18th century. Lacking the ability to measure longitude, sailors throughout the great ages of exploration had been literally lost at sea. At the heart of David Sobel's fascinating brief history of astronomy, navigation and horology stands the figure of John Harrison, self-taught Yorkshire clockmaker, and his 40-year obsession with building the perfect timekeeper. Battling against the establishment, Harrison stood alone in pursuit of his solution and the £20,000 reward offered by Parliament. This is a great read. Go and read it. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Do take care of yourselves, and see you again next time. Bye for now.
Better